Well, what is up, everybody? I'll tell you what's up. It's me. I'm talking about the Bone Jangler, that's right. And I hope that your hearts are warm and that your blood is running cold. Happy Halloween from the entire Bone Jangler family.
Hi, I'm Tyler, and this is the Fox Valley Film Critics. In this special Halloween episode, we're going to be discussing two movies we love. Stay tuned. Hi, and welcome to the show, brought to you by Groupthink Productions and FVTV. Joining us for this special Halloween episode is the wonderful and enigmatic Steve once again.
Always a pleasure.
Yes, and I'm fully decked out in my Roger Rabbit costume, Eddie Valiant.
You just like that every day. What are you talking about? Well, I seen you the other
came
day.
In the mail like 2 days ago, man.
The handcuffs?
No, I had those before.
How'd you earn those?
This was like $20 on eBay, actually, the little Roger Rabbit doll.
Really?
Yeah. These are surprisingly expensive because they're not made
Looks like you
anymore.
can stick it on a window.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's got the little suction cups.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, so we've come... serious film criticism time. We both have Halloween movies we wanted to watch. So we both kind of suggested movies, and we're going to start with your film.
Night of the Creeps?
Yeah, Night of the Creeps.
Are you sure you want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this Night of the Creeps is your suggestion.
Yes.
I've never seen this film before, and I'm glad I saw it now.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. It came out, 1986, I believe. Wish I would have brought the box.
You should have.
Yeah, anyways, but it stars Tom Atkins. He was also in Halloween Part 3 and a couple other schlockers. And then, I don't know, some other unfamiliar faces. But yeah, the thing I like about it is because it's part sci-fi, has a couple slasher elements, and then of course, is a zombie film, all wrapped up into one wonderful package.
Yeah, it does a really good job evolving from like moment to moment what it is.
Yes.
Do you want to like describe the plot at all?
Kinda. Like it starts off like it's really cool. Like you liked how it started off too. It was based in like the 1950s, and so it was all black and white. And so basically, I don't know what the plot is. It's something about aliens coming to Earth.
There are high school kids hanging out on Earth, and they're about to have prom, and they're all kind of like getting dates for the prom.
On Earth.
And all this is happening. A bunch of mind-controlling slugs seem to escape an alien spaceship, and they end up in this little town that's right about to have its little prom ceremony. So
no, they're college kids.
They're college
kids.
Well,
yeah, that's right.
College kids don't have prom though.
Yeah, I think it was just a dance or something. We're messing this up.
But yeah, unfortunately we're not
we're dive bombing.
We aren't properly describing the plot of Night of the Creeps as this should be deserved. So.
No, it is a good flick though. It came out. I think that around the same time Monster Squad did, and that seems to eclipse it for some reason. And Monster Squad is cool, but I think I like this one more.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was thinking as I was watching it. Like, this feels like it should be a much lower film than it is, but it definitely has that kind of like it's a solid B movie kind of deal to it. So it's not boring. It's not hard to watch. Like everything works, and it does that, and it's really clever how it can like shifts from genre to genre just on a moment's whim.
And then Tom Atkins' one-liners are super funny too.
Yeah, the one on the poster is like, "Good news, kids, that your dates are showing up. The bad news is that they're dead."
And then it like kind of has like action elements too when they're like going after the zombies, and they like. They get like a flamethrower and stuff like that. And then Dick Miller, he's also in there. That guy is in everything. He's in Gremlins. He's in, he always does like those little parts. He plays like a cop or whatever, but he's such a familiar face.
What was he in this one?
He was a cop. The one scene where Tom Atkins goes to the police station where all the weapons are in the basement.
Yeah.
And he's asking him just like, oh, can I get this so and so gun? And he's
The
just
one
like,
where the cop casually
Load-
vigilante justice.
yes, yeah, that scene. Yeah, so him behind
Oh, we didn't talk about that. So the first scene in the film, it goes back to the 30 years before the
50s.
yeah 1950s. Because the main plot's in the 80s, so it goes back to the 1950s, and it's about his girlfriend, wife, who's out of
his ex high school sweetheart is
Right.
going on a date with someone else, and they get pulled over, and it's him as a cop.
well, and then they get axe murdered,
Yes, yeah, I know. Hence the slasher elements.
and then he goes on like a murdering spree and like kills him and
Yeah,
hides him.
off duty, and then buries him. Of course, now that's where the college is. Like one of the one of the dorms like is buried over him. So. Yeah, beware where your dorms are.
But don't accidentally plant your house where someone is buried.
Yeah.
That always ends bad for everyone.
Yeah.
But
how do
he
you
ends
check that?
Just dig everywhere.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So then he ends up. It turns out that the body ends up becoming the first of the zombies.
Yeah, because of the slug things
mind
from
con-
outer space.
Yeah, the mind control slug zombies, and they start going around killing people and making more of the zombie monsters.
Yes, yeah, classic zombie thing. And then the makeup effects were amazing. And well, I don't know spoilers or anything like that, but the zombies.
This is a movie you watch for the experience.
Oh, I do. I do.
It's
Stop
not a plot movie.
Yeah, yes and no. It's kind of, you know what? It does have that popcorn muncher, and then it kind of reminded me of, I was watching one of the zombie sequels, Zombie 3, by Lucio Fulci, but that has like a million other names. But yeah, Zombie 3 and Zombie 4, the American titles, they have that very fast-paced thing where it's just like they're very quick movies, and like it goes from scene to scene like that, and that's what I kind of like about Night of the Creeps.
No bull crap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it cuts the crap, and just very straightforward, which is cool. I kind of like movies like that, So like a lot of movies, I zone out, and I'm just like, oh man, what just happened? Like, some of these scenes drag.
Yeah, these movies certainly didn't do that.
No, they didn't. No.
I did have one thought after watching it that kind of went into the negative, where it's like with B movies, you're always grading on a curve.
Okay.
And it's not, you're not like, we're not in Fellini territory here. We're not in Wells territory. But you grade it based on how well it's doing what it's trying to do. Mm-hmm. And it's trying to be gross out, silly. And I guess with that, I was a little bit disappointed that there wasn't more of a message to it at all. Because if you watch a lot of the best of the the B movie genre is like the Romeros and people like that, is that there's usually a really clever kind of way that they subvert the material to make it like a bigger idea. Like even if it's not like Romero, you got something like Nightbreed or something like that, where there's a message behind the content. So it's using the outlandish supernatural elements to kind of say something. Like it doesn't even have to be subtle. It doesn't have to be like smart. But
Yeah.
I always kind of appreciate that because it kind of elevates the material just a little bit more.
Yeah,
But
yes
there
and
wasn't,
no.
There really wasn't any sort of grander idea going on here. It was mashup slasher zombie
yeah.
and sci-fi into a movie and make it work, which it
it did.
does.
Yeah, it did very well. Yeah, because like the slasher scenes, it's not a predominant part of the film, but when they do show us, it's like, this is cool, and this is in the heyday of all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool because it's kind of like referencing to I guess of course you always got to bring up Romero, Night of the Living Dead, but I mean it's
Romero's
a great movie. Yeah. So it's kind of like that, and then you get the aliens for certain scenes, and again for I don't know, that movie didn't seem that quite low budget. Like the special effects were very good, and production was very
It
well.
looked like it was really well shot.
Definitely.
The camera moved well, and the camera wasn't grainy, so they were using decent film stock. So
it was. Yeah, they got a really proper DVD release too. Like it was remastered. The sound was great. That's another thing too with all these B movies. When you get the DVD versions, sometimes they're just awful.
Epic 200 film movie pack. All
Yes,
your favorite
yes.
movies from the 1980s.
I have spent numerous hours watching those, and some of them they're just they fail, but I mean there'll be a couple scenes that'll stick in your head, But I mean, you could waste your time doing other stuff.
That's always, you're exactly right. There's so many of these B movies where there's like, it justifies watching it for the one element or the one scene.
Yes, although some are better than others. You know, what brings to mind? Like Dementia 13. It's an early flick by who did The Godfather?
Coppola.
Yeah, it was actually one of his first movies, and
Really?
it's one of the many early '60s Psycho ripoffs. Like that's one of them. Day of the Nightmare is another one, which that one's really bizarre and kind of hard to watch. But Dementia 13, there's a couple cool scenes in there, very Psycho-esque, and yeah, it's like one of those movies you watch it for a couple scenes and then like. You know,
who was that? Who was the '50s director who directed all the exploitation films? That Roger Corman. Was Coppola one of the one of his?
Yes, he was under his belt.
I know Spielberg.
Yes,
a bunch of people were his students. Yeah. So I was wondering about that because like every great director from the '70s worked under him.
And I think who did the second Terminator? James Cameron. He also, I believe him. Don't quote me, but he also worked with Roger Corman also.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like all the people who worked under him, and then of course, like I love Ed Wood.
Did Wood work under him?
No, he was doing his own bizarre thing.
He wasn't affiliated.
He
didn't have talent. He didn't get the talent from that. So.
Yeah. Again, like with him, it's just like some of his movies they didn't even make it to theater, which is really goofy. You know, it's like you invest all that time and stuff and.
Do you want to talk about the name dropping in Night of the Creeps?
Oh yeah. So the one character, one of the lead female roles, her last name is Cronenberg, which is a reference to David Cronenberg, who did Scanners and Rabid, which I have DVR'd. I will watch one of these days. It's supposed to be awesome. Scanners is pretty tight. And I believe
Scanners is fondly remembered for one scene.
Yeah, that's kind of
I watched half of it and I got really bored. But.
Yeah, you know, I think Videodrome was a little bit better. If you saw that, it's got.
I've seen it floating around the Criterion Collection.
Yeah, that one's pretty cool. It's got Debbie Harry from Blondie, the singer, and it's kind of like an anthology where it's like 3 stories in one. It's pretty cool. And then I believe Tom Atkins' character's last name's Romero, and that's what we were just saying right now. Yeah,
that's not even a subtle name drop.
And then I know. And then since it's the '80s, the one bully fraternity guy, they call him Biff, which you know you all know where that's from. Was that movie?
Back to the Future.
I know. Yeah.
Like what? It's like, well, what is that movie that came out a couple years ago that literally everyone saw?
Exactly.
I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah. And then that character, that actor, he was in this wonderful movie called Ghoulies Part 3. Ghoulies Go to College. So he seems to be typecast as that fraternity guy. We got to watch that movie one of these days. Ghoulies is like, it's one of those numerous 80s little monster movies. And the first 2 kind of serious-ish. And then 3 and 4 are just like, total, we don't care anymore. And my favorite is actually the 3rd one, they Go to College. It's basically Gremlins meets Animal House.
Oh my.
Yeah, and with a bunch of like comic book-ish stuff, and it's so good. But he's in there, and then another character, one of the female dorm actors, she was in Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and I don't know her name though, but she was a really good actress.
Did you ever see From Beyond or Reanimator?
Yes, From Beyond is awesome.
Who was the director on those? I forget his name.
I know they're both based on H.P. Lovecraft stories, which I love.
They are.
And From Beyond, man, the special effects are phenomenal. It reminds me of The Thing at times, you know, like the weird droopy flesh and all that stuff. And then it's got the one guy from the original Dawn of the Dead, the hero. He's in it, which is cool. And then, Reanimator. Yeah, man, that was really good. I read the book too, or it's a short story. It's only like 25 pages, but
I'm trying to remember the name of the director on that. It was Stan something, because he's a great example. I was saying about the Romero like subtext film, an idea in his film is like, we're going to make this really silly B movie and add some subversive subtext to it to kind of elevate the material. And he made one of my my all-time favorite movies, a little movie by the name of Robot Jocks. If you've ever seen that,
he did that.
He did Robot Jocks.
Okay, that sounds cool. Yeah, I have to see that.
Yeah,
do you have From Beyond?
I don't have. I have Robot Jocks.
Okay. Well, man, we gotta watch.
All right. That's all for our discussion tonight of the Creeps and various other B-movie horror movies. Join us for the next segment where we'll be talking about Shin Godzilla. Stay tuned.
Does this help at all?
Anything helps, ma'am. Just try to get some sleep now.
I can't sleep.
Yeah, me neither. I'm on my way.
Good coffee, huh? Oh my god! What are you doing in my apartment?
Hello and welcome back to the show. Now we move on to our discussion on the most recent Godzilla film. So, you had not seen this before I had made you watch this for this, and you were a little apprehensive, actually.
Yeah, initially it's just like, I love Godzilla and I love Toho, but man, the same story again. It's just like, I've seen this, like, you know, I love his origin, don't get me wrong, but like, you know, you waited so long. It's like, what, the first flick from Toho in 12 years or something?
Last one was Final Wars in 2004.
Yes, and I don't think I saw that one, but
That's the one where all
yeah, I know what it's about.
You should
yeah.
watch that. It's really fun. They have almost every single kaiju shows up.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, and Jet Jaguar, is he in it too?
Jet Jaguar is not.
Oh, so no, it's not.
Megalon doesn't show up either for obvious reasons.
Weird, huh?
For obvious reasons.
What was the obvious reason?
He sucks.
Megalon? He's the little rhino guy?
No, Megalon is the giant bug monster who shoots little turds.
I thought he was cool. I don't know.
Jet Jaguar was the best part of the Megalon movie. That's it.
Okay, all right, yeah. Because he's in a couple, yeah. But yeah, Shin Godzilla. Yeah, like I said, it's just like, you know, you waited so long and it's just like, oh, well, let's just retell it again. And so I was a little put off by that because, like, I know his origin story and it's cool, but like, you know what? Godzilla, like, it's such a weird series because he's the bad guy sometimes and he's the good guy the other times. I kind of like him as the good guy more.
Yeah, it's definitely it's weird when how it does switch, but I think that's part of what makes it work.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
There's always a little bit of moral ambiguity as to who he's on. Like if he's fighting the smog monster, he's on humanity's side, but he doesn't like humanity.
Yeah.
If he's fighting the monster from Godzilla 2000, he's on humanity's side, and then he'll immediately turn around and start burning the city. And
that's kind of cool. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because he's never really on our side, but he doesn't like the other monsters more than he hates us.
Yeah.
So. But so. For history, I guess, we got the new American Godzilla in 2014.
I still have not seen. I have no interest, to be honest.
I'd call it the most accessible Godzilla film. Like,
really?
Like, not in it's the best one, because I think the best one is either like Godzilla versus Mothra or...
any of the King Ghidorah.
Yeah, the Ghidorah ones are always great.
And then Mega Godzillas, those are really good. And then what's the one?
Those go back and forth.
The versus the crab monster?
Sea monster.
See, that one is amazing. Like,
yeah.
For, like, usually the other characters you don't care about, but that one, they're actually funny. Like, they like, for some reason, I really enjoyed that.
And I really like Smog Monster, because that one's, like, psychedelic.
Yeah, the psychedelic one. Not too sure if I've seen that one. I don't know.
He fights the living embodiment of all pollution.
Yeah, I know what it looks like, but because I watched, like, I was raised on those, and so, like, I watched a bunch of them, and...
Point being that Godzilla is a very long series with 30 films, and it can be a little difficult to get into. So that's why I think the new one is good, because it irons out a lot of the weird stuff. And just
the Shin Godzilla?
Not the one from 2014.
2014.
So it's just Godzilla versus some random kaijus.
Okay.
And it's simple. The Godzilla it's rendered very well with special effects. Mm-hmm. It hasn't held up that well as compared to some other recent monster movies, but I think I compare it a lot to like the Star Trek 09, where it's not the best one ever, but if you want to like get a sense of what the series is, it's a good one because it's a fast-paced movie and it's slick and it's easy to watch. Okay. So,
what other monster movies do you compare to from recent years?
Pacific Rim, Cloverfield. There's a new one that came out just recently with Anne Hathaway, Colossal.
Jason Lee.
Jason Lee.
Is that what you said, or? Never mind.
Never mind. So, but yeah, there's been a couple.
Yeah.
So this
Pacific Rim, I watched a little bit of it. It's got one of my favorite actors, Charlie Day's in it.
Yeah.
He plays like the goofy scientist.
Yeah.
It seemed okay. Like I don't know.
you got to be in that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But
Now I heard there's a rumor they're gonna do a crossover between Godzilla and Pacific Rim.
that's what I want.
Yeah.
But
So I don't know if that's gonna come to fruition. You know how, these days are.
same people that own it. So same distributors.
The American guys or Toho?
they're all made by Legendary. So.
Oh, interesting.
So
Okay.
it's possible.
Okay.
There are talks going on, but
Cool.
it all depends on if they make money or not.
See, I like to see that. I like to see them progress instead of just doing the same old stuff. I mean, it's cool, but it's just like, man, I want to see, him like go on new adventures and stuff.
Sure.
It's, like, it's been a while since we've seen that.
So I'm back on track.
Yeah.
It came out in 2014.
No.
It was very successful, and Toho decided they were going to do their first one for like, what would you say, 12 years?
Yes, yeah.
it came out-
since Final Wars, yeah.
Yeah. So they started making on it like 2015. It came out, and I was waiting for a better part of like 2 years for this movie, and I
Yeah.
saw it. They released it for like one night only.
I was gonna say it was very like under the cuff, like
The American distributors don't do major releases. It's owned by Funimation, so they weren't going to get a huge audience for it because they didn't have an American dub ready at the time. But they needed to get it. They wanted it was like, this is going to be a specialty item.
Yeah.
Everyone that wants to see it is going to go see it.
Okay.
And then we'll release it on Blu-ray like a couple months after.
Okay.
And so they released it for like one night only, and it did pretty well.
okay.
And
You saw it at Music Box, or
I saw it at Studio Movie Grill, which is a very good movie theater over in Wheaton.
Okay.
And it's kind of like the Hollywood.
Oh, nice, cool. Yeah.
So yeah, and I've sat on this film for the better part of a year now because it came out last October, and I think this is officially, I would say it's in my top 7 of Godzilla films.
Really?
Like I try to do a top 5 of them, but I think
That's hard. That's hard.
Yeah,
It's
so
so many.
I have a top 7 Godzilla films.
Okay.
And then this is on the list of them now. 'Cause
Interesting.
this is the first time since the first film that we've actually gotten a dark Godzilla film that actually works.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate tremendously because that's part of why I like the series is that it has that kind of B-movie aesthetic where it's a silly monster movie, but it's also
Yeah.
saying something.
And then they got aliens coming. I love the ones where they travel through time for
that's
some
where
reason.
that's where it gets weird.
Yeah, I
There's
love that stuff.
I mean,
It's out of the ordinary. It was like if he would have done some stuff in that. Like,
I love the time travel and the aliens
Yeah.
and the random kaiju.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with the theme of the series.
No, not at all.
It has
No.
nothing to do with Japan grappling with the idea of like living in a post-nuclear age.
right.
Which you can there is some interesting like psychology behind it, like
Yeah.
the idea of Japan feeling like because Japan in the Cold War, country with no military,
Yeah.
it's got the Soviet Union to its west and the United States to its east, and both of them are just ready to go.
Yes.
And so you could kind of see the psychology of Japan like celebrating these movies where
It reflects the times.
where you have two giant unstoppable forces that are crashing over you and you have no means to stop it. You just have to survive in the middle of it. So
Yeah.
you can see the psychology of why that would play out in such a popular way for people who are living in Japan as a blockbuster spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of the message, it still doesn't work
Yeah.
all that well. But
yeah, the first one, Gojira, man, like I just saw because I saw the American version was the King of the Monsters. And
Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Yeah, the original one with the subtitles and stuff, so depressing. Like, man, like that was kind of hard to watch. Like,
I dig it.
Yeah, I know, I dig it too. But yeah, for something that came out in 1954 to still have that effect is amazing. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
so-
exactly.
Yeah, but anyways, all right.
That was
back-
coming out of the same school as it wasn't Kurosawa who directed it, but
Okay.
one of his contemporaries who they were working out of the same with the resource pool. So
Nice.
it had a lot of that kind of same effort that went into stuff like Yojimbo and Seven Samurai. So
And that influenced George Lucas, correct?
Yojimbo influenced George Lucas.
Yeah, okay.
Yojimbo and Hidden Fortress were the ones that he drawed upon for his films. So.
Okay, I gotta check those out. But anyways, with this, all right, so he goes through many forms. The first form is so ridiculous.
So there's a bit of a modern anime thing happening here where
That's kind of cool.
So it's So the Godzilla starts the film, and he's clearly not in his final form at the time. So he has these giant bug eyes at the beginning of the film.
It kind of reminded me of like a fish. You know,
like giant fish. I love that
because
it was goofy. Because the first time you see him, you're like, okay, he's currently stomping down. You only see his tail. Yeah. Then the first time you see his face, he's coming straight at the camera, and he's got the giant bug eyes. It's like, what the heck is happening?
And he's like bleeding too. Remember, out of his gills. It's like it was very. This was really gory too. Like a lot of blood.
There's a lot of interesting things going on in this film. Where it's like he's for the first half of the film, you can tell that he's just a creature that's mutating rapidly. So he starts out by mutating into this form where he's bleeding out constantly. He can't survive on land. His heart starts overheating, and he has to run back to the water. And he just continues to evolve from there until he can basically self-regulate his nuclear core.
That was a cool concept. Because like with the original ones, he just comes out, you know, and this one is cool. He comes out,
all that's supposed to has happened off screen in the original one, because we find out in the original, which took me a long time to figure out, he was just a giant prehistoric sea monster that was under the ocean for millions of years.
Yeah, he woken from a slumber,
and he was hit by a nuclear bomb, and he mutated.
Yes,
and for this one, kind of to have an idea of what the film is going for, you have to kind of understand that the film is definitely a reaction to Fukushima.
And
the nuclear reaction, like the nuclear
it's still
meltdown.
going on apparently.
Well, yeah, you got to think like Japan doesn't have a power grid without nuclear power.
Yeah.
So they're very not happy with nuclear energy right now. And the subtext of the film is the subtext of the film is kind of this idea of playing with the idea of having to live with this rapidly proliferating and dangerous power source that lives right next to you that can destroy you at any time.
But you need it.
Well, exactly.
To power everything. Exactly.
I don't want to spoil how they end the film, but how they stop Godzilla plays very much into that anxiety.
Yes.
It's really clever, like, if you understand that. When I first saw it, I was like, they're doing what to stop Godzilla? And then you think about it, and then when you realize that that's kind of what the film's going for, and it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to ruin that because that
was really cool. Yeah. So I'll admit, there are some cool parts. But yeah, it's just like I'm just not a big fan of the retelling of the same thing over and over again.
There is another thing it does I really want to talk about.
Okay.
It's the actual plot of the film is a very kind of satirical breakdown of Japanese bureaucracy. So half the runtime of the film is just dedicated to this bureaucrat who we meet early on. And he's forced to sit through meeting after meeting after meeting.
He goes nuts a couple times.
After consulting with experts, consulting with the politicians, consulting with the experts again, consulting back with the politicians, and it's just constant back and forth of how the Japanese government has to deal with these enormous disasters.
Yeah.
Because like there's a YouTuber named Gaijin Goomba who broke this down, who actually lived in Japan. He's like, this is so accurate. It's depressing because Japanese society is very, very formal to a fault, and it's basically making the point is that you have a giant monster rampaging through downtown right now. People are dying, and the prime minister is in his 5th meeting trying to figure out what to do. Yeah, so that ends up playing really well into the themes, and there's also ideas of how Japan has to deal with foreign influences, because at one point the U.S. government's just like, you don't have a military, we see this giant monster, this can get out of hand, so we're going to send a bomber to blow it up, and at one point they're just like, we're just going to straight nuke it. And Japan's like, America's going to nuke us again. They're going to drop a bomb on us, and it's. I love how somber, and I love how like seriously it takes to reflecting upon all these ideas.
Yeah.
It's such a statement about where Japan is as a culture right now, especially after the first one.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Yeah, it was cool. Like, I don't know. At first, I was going to say, you know what, skip Godzilla.
This one?
Instead of Shin Godzilla. Skip Godzilla.
Anyway. I dig that. That's a good pun. I like that.
Stayed up all night thinking that. Anyways, but no, it's cool. Now, here's me being really picky. I don't like CGI. and I thought a bunch of the scenes, like even like when the blood was coming out, like it just looked so video game.
It was half and half.
Yeah, it's like I don't know, man. Like that kind of turned me off. I'm not gonna lie. The CGI scenes, like it's
I can
they
agree.
still haven't perfected that yet. I know it's still like an ongoing thing, but it's just like
The problem is not that it's bad. The problem I think is that it's bad CGI. This is clearly a low budget film.
oh.
Like I
thought Toho.
well, Toho has money, but
Yeah.
this wasn't as much money as they could have.
Interesting. Okay.
Well, overall, I dug it.
Yeah.
Dude, were you happy? More happy than you thought it would be?
Yeah, I was a little put off by it, but you know what? Like, it's not too bad. I still like Gojira the best for like the origin story because I'm just like those people like whatever, leave it alone, don't do it. And this I saw the first one I saw or the origin story was essentially the same thing but the Americanized version,
Sure.
King of the Monsters, and that one, yeah. They added all those scenes of the reporter, kind of unnecessary. Yeah, it's just like and
But yeah, overall, I think we both enjoyed it.
Yeah.
That's all for this episode of the Fox Valley Film Critics. Thank you for joining in and have a happy Halloween. You can follow me on Critic at @AnySocialCritic. You can find that's Critic without the C at the end of it. You can find more of my reviews at the AnySocialCritic.tumblr.com, and you can find reruns of the show on the Group Thing Productions YouTube page. I'm Tyler with the Fox Valley Film Critics. Have a wonderful Halloween.